I want to share something uncomfortable today, not because it's true, but because it's familiar. I'm not asking you to agree with it. I'm asking you to notice how it sits in your body and your reaction to it, okay? If this feels harsh, stay with me, okay? This is a letter I received, so I want you to hear it. Dear Toni, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I feel there are a few things I should bring to your attention. I'm surprised at where you are in life right now. Firstly, my friend, I'm quite surprised you don't put exercise and diet more at the forefront of your priorities. I've noticed you've put on extra weight and aren't looking your best anymore. I have so many tips I could give you, but you don't seem to take them. I've reached a point where I'm not sure I should even keep offering advice because it feels like you ignore it and continue to gain weight without implementing any consistent exercise routine I suggest. I'm not trying to be mean, but have you looked in the mirror lately? I'm also surprised you're not more successful by now. Wouldn't a woman of your age be retired, living by the beach, or at least more financially secure? I've lent you books, I've talked to you about success, manifestation, spirituality, and it doesn't seem like you're getting as far as you should. And when it comes to your relationships, are you sure this is where you should be? Is this really what you wanted for yourself? Are you doing your best? As for your children, I tried years ago to tell you that anger wasn't the way, that maybe you should prepare them differently for their future. I'm not saying anything bad about them, just that perhaps you could have done better as a mother. I do love you, but sometimes there's a little shame and disbelief about where you are right now. But truly, if you want to talk, I'm open. Toni. Yeah, I wrote that to myself. Take a breath. Most people, when they hear that, are angry. I've done something like this before they realize that it's something I wrote to myself. They want to defend the woman. They want to say, what kind of friend, what kind of person would say that to someone else? They want to say, that's cruel, that's unfair. Who would talk like that? Why would you even read that letter? What would you do? But then when they find out I wrote it to myself, where did that sit in your body? What did it do to you? So many of us women talk to ourselves exactly like this. Well, look at, I wrote that to myself for shock value, sure, for this, but I couldn't sit here and tell you truthfully that I don't think that way sometimes, that those thoughts haven't ran through my head. But would I ever, ever, ever write that to someone else? Never, never. So midlife has this way of amplifying that voice, particularly if you have any ADHD symptoms like I do. Your hormones shift, your energy's changing, your memory gets foggy, your sleep disappears, you're sleep deprived, you're hard on yourself, your body doesn't respond the way it used to, right? So instead of curiosity, instead of compassion, instead of treating it like shifts and changes, we turn on ourselves. What's wild is if someone did speak to you like this, what would you do? You'd be in shock. You wouldn't want them as a friend. You'd say, where did this all come from? Why are you talking to me like this, right? But when it happens inside our own head, we call it what? Discipline, that bright awakening, being honest with ourselves, motivation, realism. Yeah. Great, right? I dare you to send that letter to someone else. You wouldn't, right? We would never, ever, ever do that, right? We say the things to ourselves we could never or would never want to say to our daughters, our friends, strangers, people we mentee, the people that hire us as healers or whatever it is you do for a business. Would we do that? Even if we were trainers, that's not how we would talk to someone, right? So this is the part that nobody really prepares us as women for, right? Menopause isn't just hot flashes and weight gain or mood swings. It's not just the crazy period, right? The change that used to be talked about, but I still don't think we fully talk about it, right? This is an identity crossing. It's that moment where old ways of pushing and forcing and proving aren't working anymore. but we're still hard on ourselves, right? That's why I'm constantly talking about reset, reset, not fixing, not optimizing, not becoming a better version of you, just interrupting the cruelty, interrupting the voice, reading truths, finding things out about yourself. I'm journaling, learning about the things you should eat, learning about those things that will help your body, learning about the changes, learning about all the archetypes that live inside of you that are okay, that are perfectly fine. Sometimes a reset looks like regulating your nervous system before you try to change anything. Sometimes it looks like learning how to come back into your body gently instead of judging it. If you watched any of my shorts like this, just touch your heart right now and take a breath. Come back down from being angry at the letter I wrote. No judging, just sitting. Just sit in your sit bones, as one of my teachers said. And this I'm telling you, putting your hand on your heart and breathing, just knowing where you're at. Sometimes menopause is sometimes it's nourishment instead of restriction, rest instead of punishment, listening instead of judging, instead of overriding yourself, right? And sometimes it's simple as asking, what would support me today? Not what would shame me, not what should I be doing, not why haven't I done this yet. We're at, like, if you're watching this when I'm recording it, we're at February. So we're coming from the new year and all these things we were going to do. Start this exercise regime, start this business, get out of the job we don't like, or take on retirement, or do the things, or reconnect. Stop, slow down, right? I use tools like tarot, herbs, rhythm, ritual, not to predict the future, but to help women slow down enough to hear themselves again, right? Not because there's something wrong with you, but because we've been told there's something wrong with us, where you're just going to have hot flashes, you're just going to need this, you're just going to have to go through this. But no, 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 no. Did anyone ever tell teenagers that they suck? Well, no, they're coming into themselves, and that's where we are. That's like the second level of teenager, but where we get to own it a little more and be a little wiser with it. So come on. You have been carrying too much for too long without support. And that's my passion right now. It's like, why? Well, how long have women been on this freaking planet? This is not a new thing. It's time we supported each other. That letter wasn't written by an enemy. It was written by a woman who was exhausted and scared and still believed she had to earn rest. She had to earn worthiness. She had to earn her right to be here. And maybe parts of you are believing that too. What if midlife isn't asking you to become better? What if it's not asking you to be something, period? What if it just wants you to embrace kindness? What if the reset isn't about getting back to who you were, but meeting who you are becoming? Without violence, without must, without shoulds, without why didn't I's. So if this stirred something in you, I want you to know you're not alone. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not failing in life. You're in a transition. You're in a reset. Transitions don't need shame. They don't need shame. They need support. You are magnificent.